Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Light of Hand, and today I'll be taking a look at Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay version 4. Hey guys, how are you? I'm not too bad. So yes, my physical copy turned up, and I don't know if you've seen some of the other videos that I've done. One of the things I really like, also I like how they've got the slight engraving that's coming out and stuff like that on there. I'm always happy to get new books. But I do like what they've done with the front art on this. I don't know if you guys have actually seen first edition, but if you look at first edition, the sword that's sticking out, you'll see that warrior in the plated armour, which I believe is from the story, one of the stories from Troll Slayer, when they go to the Dwarven City, and there's this ogre as well, which it's actually quite reminiscent of the Blood Bolt ogre, who had the fist spike and the ball and chain, fist spike. I think that's meant to be Gortrek Gunnarsson, and then back here would have been Felix holding the bridge with someone else. But even with the Gortrek, sort of when he was cutting into something, he was like cutting down the throat of the orc. This is a Skaven, obviously, here. I do like what they've done there. Also, the wizard would have been a normal wizard, bright wizard, maybe with a fireball. At this moment, you've got a death wizard to one side, an amethyst. I love the Warhammer Roleplay series, guys. My favourite is actually 2nd edition. That said, though, I have one problem with 2nd edition, and I did at the time when I bought it. This is the rulebook for 2nd edition. It's very thin. It is only 250 so pages. This one is about 350 something, so it's much better. So in one of my other videos, when someone was asking me how many, about 100 more pages, and there's not an adventure in this, when there is an adventure in that one. That's the one of the things here I'm a little bit more, I wish was inside this, but I'm going to go through all this in a second. Now, this book reminds me of a bit of a mix of version 2 and version 1. Please remember, I've only played version 3 once, and that made my mind up never to buy it. I don't want to go into why with you, but it just really wasn't for me, version 3. Sorry, guys. So, straight away, you have this lovely map. I prefer the PDF, to be honest, because one of my adventure groups, if I can zoom in, I'm not sure how far I can go in, but yeah, so I'm doing an adventure around this sort of bit around here, near Ubersreich. So yeah, so you've got this lovely map. Let me zoom back out. I'm not going to show too much here, guys, because one, I don't want to get into trouble. Do like this nice little, it looks like an orc skull upon some skin stuff there. That's kind of cool. The index is very easy to follow and read. So I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing where this sort of goes. Nice little bit at the beginning. I like this little, this nice bit here with the drawings and the writing. I don't mind the drawings. It's meant to be quite dark. I like this bit sort of here. This could be any forest in the Empire. Again, any town that has a port, any city market, and so on. Sorry, the light's not great. Yeah. So you've got this nice little bit at the beginning. It's sort of showing. Then you've got this lovely letter, which I did enjoy reading. And then you've got character creations. Now, in the Warhammer game itself, there wasn't actually a different, you just chose to be an elf. Now, Warhammer version 1, the elf was quite powerful, but faced a lot of diversity. In Warhammer 2nd edition, the elf was definitely not as powerful, if I remember rightly. If I can find the stats here. So where the human was plus 20 with 2d10, the elf only had 2 stats that were different on that, and also had a lot less wounds, but was faster. How you work out wounds in this is very different. Now I believe the elves have gone back to being quite powerful. I think the dwarves have even had a big increase in stats. Don't want to go again. I don't want to show too much, but again the elves have one table to roll on in the sense for their stats, but then after that, they're so rare in this game because there's like 1 point difference. Again, I don't want to show too much. Right, so humans are basically 90% chance of being them if you want to be random. Now, if you chose your race, fair enough, you can do that. But at the same time, you would get 20 XP for doing a random roll. So, after that, you've got this nice little description of some of the other races, what they think of each other, and so on. Very interesting what the Wood Elves and High Elves think of each other. But one thing they've brought back from version 1, which was taken away in version 2, is class. Before you go on to the jobs, there is actually class. Now, it's all a D100 table. I'm not going to show the other half of the table. But the other classes you have is Alchemists, Burglars, I think that means townspeople, Courtiers, Peasants, Rangers, Riverfolk, Rogues, and Warriors. So they're all in different categories and stuff like that. But your starting equipment can be very different, which is kind of interesting for me. Then again, as I said, you've got the stats. I think there is a printing mistake in this book because the hobbits, they have 30 dexterity plus 2d10, and in the book they say they've only got an average of 30. So there's the sort of stats bits here, but again, I don't want to show too much to give away certain things. Again, it keeps to certain other things. Then you've got your sort of skills and skill tables. Again, it's what worries me a little. I'm just going to quickly show that there. Human Reiklander. Now, a Human Reiklander says to me there's going to be other books that's going to involve maybe one province in each book, or maybe even a group of provinces in each book. Fair enough. I like the fact that elves, dwarfs, Wood Elves and High Elves have a different set of skills, because again they come from slightly more different backgrounds. I do like that. But straight away, elves seem like they can read and write, same as dwarfs. Hobbits don't, but again, that's interesting. I would love to be a hobbit in one of these games. I've actually got an idea for all of that. But then you come to here. Now, this is the bit where I was saying a minute ago, where you get different sort of things. Now, the worrying thing is in this game, you may not start off with a hand weapon. Your also starting wealth is very, very low compared to the other games. Which, again, kind of worries me a little. At the same time, makes it very interesting. So there's other sort of bits here. They've also changed fate. Now you've got fate and resilience. It can be very random on sort of how you build. It's also got some other bits here on how much it costs to advance, and so on. I've created quite a couple of characters now. Then it talks about the careers. Again, the advanced table and how much certain things are. Now the careers are very different compared to the other ones. So I'm just going to quickly go to the very first career, which I think they've actually had in their... So you look at the top here. That's like the weapon skill. It just has a mark. So when you're level 1 alchemist, which is an alchemist apprentice on here, who would be a brass 3, so you would roll 6 dice added up as pennies. Whilst you're level 1, you can advance any of these 3 as much as you like. Now, if you come back to version 2, now hopefully I'm making sense as I'm talking here, guys, because I know I can rabbit on, and sometimes I... The old sort of, if you wanted to advance, so let's just go to Norse Berserker here. It has plus 15 or plus 10 and so on. So you would, with version 1, you would increase things by 5 points. In this one, you increase things by a single point. In version 1, it was by 10, but weapon skill, not weapon skill, wounds, strength, and tough was single points. So let's also go sort of back here for a second. So again, so you talk about the careers, how to, when you want to advance in them. So again, let's go back to here. So you start off with sort of like that, then you would become an apprentice, then a master, an academic, then you would become a master and a general. But to keep those like level 3 and level 4, you still have to make sure you spend time doing that actual job. So that's kind of interesting. So when you get your bit of time, obviously you got your slayers, which is really cool. You got your soldiers, priests, villagers, fanatics, messengers, witch hunters, because one of my friends is a witch hunter, a wrecker, physicians, so many jobs. Now, I don't think there's anywhere near as many in this one as there is in the the other one. And at this moment, I've got another book upstairs that I could do. So this is the thing. I love version 2, but version 2 became very good because of its expansions. Version 4, sorry. I like to forget there was the other version. But yeah. So then you come up to tests. I kind of like tests a bit more now. Like weapon skill and stuff like that. Because... sorry, soldier and all that again. Skills, they're about similar to what they sort of were before, except for now, if I get one of the characters that's been made, I'm going to grab one of my friend's characters. So instead of like in version 2, if you got a skill, you could do +10, +5, so on. Now, I've just grabbed one of my friend's character sheets here. As you can see, he only has like +2 in charm. He has +5 in his call, and so on. So you can see where these other little bits he's added to. Certain ones are his career, some of them are his starting ones. So yeah. Again, we only just started the other day. We've enjoyed it, but we haven't done a lot of tests yet. And then you've got talents. Now talents were first introduced in 2nd edition, which I thought were very good. I think they've improved them a bit. I'm not 100% sure, guys. Until I get to play some more, maybe I'm going to start having problems with certain things. But I do think they've done sort of better, because there's some talents you can only take once. I want to talk about combat in a second. But some other talents you can take more than once. Let's just take Alicat, for instance. You're at home in the shadowy backstreets when you are doing stealth urban. You may reserve the dice, or reverse the dice of a failed test for a score. Okay, so that says maximum initiative bonus. So I wonder if that means a session. Okay, but again, you can get ambidextrous, which is only up to 2 times. So these things kind of interest me, and so forth. Some of them you can only get once, something like very resilient, that gives you +5 points towards your strength or tough, because that becomes very important when it comes to wounds. Again, I'm going to come back to here and sort of show you sort of something here. So I'm going to zoom in here, again on my friend's character sheet. As you can see, he has a strength of 34 and a tough of 33, but a willpower of 31. Now let's turn this over very quickly, and let's come to here. Okay, as you can see, he would get 3 wounds for his strength bonus, because he's normal size. He would get ×2 is tough. He would also get so that would be 6, would make 9. Then he got 3 for his willpower bonus, because his willpower is 30 something. Then he got hardy as one of his talents, which is a 1. So, and he can increase hardy by the amount of tough bonus he has. But if he wants to get the next level of hardy, it will cost him 200 points to get an extra wound. So at this point, I wouldn't recommend that. Maybe later on, when like stats become a lot more expensive. Now we assume that if you make your tough to 4, which means he'd have to make it over 40, same as his strength or willpower, his wounds would go up with it. Also, his starting money was a shilling, ladies and gentlemen, and that was very unlucky because he rolled a 1. He's a witch hunter. But again, you have but now we're going to go back to talk about combat for a second. Now, combat has changed in a couple of ways. Again, you still use your weapon skill and so on, but one of the things I like about the new combat system, now I know not everyone will, I've seen on some of the comments, instead of before it'd be, okay, I have weapon skill, let's say 37 for a second. You'd have to roll under 37 to hit the enemy unless you did a charge and so on. Now you also get your skill bonus with basic if you're using a hand weapon. As my friend has, he has fists, which is actually brawling. We believe it's brawling anyway. So if he uses his fist, he actually has 43. Now, unlike before where you'd roll a d10 for damage, your weapon automatically has a damage roll. So I'm just going to roll, say, one of my friend's weapon skills for a minute. And I'm going to say the enemy rolled 95. So I'm going to roll my friends. So the white dice is going to be the 10s, and this one's here is going to be something else. 63. So he hasn't done too well, actually. But he still wins the combat, but he would only be minus 52, 62, so 95. So he's hit the enemy with +3, because you work out the differences between the two. So his weapon would hit, and he would get 3 extra damage to do against the enemy. Now, a basic hand weapon itself would... Oh, he hasn't wrote it on there. Okay, I think a hand weapon is 4, so that would be 7 damage. Then you'd minus the enemy's tough, whatever armour they're wearing, and so on. I like this. I like this new system, because I do remember one time, whilst playing version 2, we had a fight against an enemy, and it took close to half an hour. And it wasn't even a very powerful enemy. It just, everyone was missing. I eventually just did a random roll to determine what happened, because it was just killing the game at that moment. I feel like this new combat system helps make things go a little bit faster, a little bit more fun, I think. But the advantage system that comes with it, I'm not sure how that works properly yet. Again, being dyslexic doesn't always help, guys. So when I'm reading certain things, I'm not 100% sure I may be understanding them 100% correct. But from what I read, when you have these advantages, they give you bonuses. Now, I don't think they minus from your weapon skill, but they do, you know, your opponent, let's say he surprised you, and he outnumbered you, and so on. So let's say he surprised you by quite a bit. So he got, say, 2 advantages. So he's got +20 to his weapon skill for that round. So unless you hit him and cause a wound, he's not gonna lose them advantages. So all of a sudden you're at a disadvantage fighting him, because his will go up. So when he's defending, he still has that advantage. So it could, again, there's certain little things. It makes it interesting for me. But then I feel like this I could be going on for quite some time here. I hope people are actually enjoying what I'm talking about here and understand what I'm talking about. There's so many, and there's so much more talents in here as well. And like, which sort of, then you got like your basic tests, which is kind of interesting for me. Then you got these condition things. Now, I don't really remember conditions very much in the other one. They probably were there, but we didn't really use them a lot. Bleeding, blinding, deafened, entangled, fatigued. Now, you can be fatigued from travelling, might I add. You know, if you travel too much, your character could be slightly fatigued. Poisoned, prone, stunned, surprised, and even unconscious. Now, all of these have their different things. I'm not going to go into too much about that. Then you have your, like, fate and resilience. Now, in the other books, fate points were the things that you could use to not get a mutation, and so on. But now I believe it's resilience stops you getting mutation. Also can stop. Say you got a critical hit against you, you could use the. I don't think it's actually a critical, but let's say would lose all 10 advantages in this fight in the hero's favour. Wow. I will never fail, which means he automatically wins the opposing test by... Oh, so you can use resilience to win the test by 1. So that's interesting. So you could maybe have lost your advantages, and you think to yourself, oh no, God, no, I need them to take this enemy on, blah, blah, blah. So you spend one of your resilience points to sort of like stop that, and you win the by 1. Fate as well. No, that might be fate, actually. I'm thinking of not resilient. I'm sorry if I'm making a mistake here, guys. But again, this book also has not a bad, where are we? Spell sort of bit. It's not fantastic. It's not too bad. I like the fact that there's not just petty magic now. Sorry, you got the sort of the arcane stuff as well. And I think petty magic, there's quite a bit in this book. I think it rivals more than this one. Yeah, I do actually think, because I think there's only 6 spells in the other one, but there were 6 for each different sort of bit, so maybe it's not as many as I think, because the other one would have had some of these anyway. There's also faith. They go into a little bit of detail about the faiths. I also like the fact they go into some detail about the smaller faiths, but more to do with Reichland again. Again, this is where I think we'll see, if we don't see a single book for provinces, I think you might see provinces in some groups. So maybe something like, I don't know, you might get Nordland, Hochland, Midlands in one book, where you would get the Straussland, Averland. Oh, what's the other one goes with W, but not Wasteland? I think you'll start getting some things like that. Again, there's sort of like the different magic classes are there. Sort of stuff I really do kind of like. But there's no magic items at all in this. Or even slight descriptions about them. A nice little bit for the GM and about travelling and so on. I kind of like. Nice little table, what to do. Then a nice little guide as well. It's kind of funny because one of the example areas they have inside here, me and my friends are actually where I set my area up. I wonder if I can find, yeah. So you see this little map here. Uberreich is down there. I've got my, just underneath this area here, I decided that's where I was going to do my adventure. Found it very funny when I worked out, when I've eventually read the book, how close I actually was to this. I just pissed myself with laughter. I do like the descriptions. Would have liked maybe a bit more information. Kind of like from version 2's Era Sigma. I would love the nice long tables to show me what villages and stuff like that. You know, you can make up your own ones anyway, but maybe like the major sort of places within some of these areas. Again, it goes into what you can buy. I think this is done quite well actually, compared to some of the other ones. I don't know if there's more weapons really in this one than there was actually to do with the other, but I do think there's more stuff you can buy in this one than there was in the version 2. Let's have a quick look. Actually, sorry, all the paper I have inside this book. It was just to make sure I knew where everything was. Like buy-in and okay, that's the table. I think buy-in's actually equipment is more. Sorry, that didn't sound very good, did it? I should just look at the index, really, shouldn't I? That equipment. So actually, you had more swords and stuff like that you could use and buy from the second edition, but there are some of these things are now a lot cheaper. Oh, actually, maybe there's more spells actually with each thing in this one. I think I got that wrong. I do actually think, yeah, there is. It looks like there's a lot more spells in this one. I got that wrong. Okay. Huh. There's also some dark lore as well. So again, there wasn't many spells here, I don't think. For maybe a little bit more for necromancy. Yeah, there's a lot more for necromancy in this one than there was in this other one. But so let me go back to where I was. So you also got like the damage tables. I do love these damage tables. I do find them fun. But again, you don't really need to use them. You can just do some other bits. Then you've also got physical mutations, also mental corruption. So it could be one or the other. Other races have slightly more chances of other sort of things. So I think humans 50-50. Elves is only mind, not body. And so on. So that kind of interests me, where hobbits is a 10% chance of their bodies and mostly their minds. Dwarfs, I think, is literally their minds. It's only such a small percentage. Then you've got stuff about diseases, and I like this because it goes into some really good like symptoms, what they do, and so on. I don't think I'll be doing that. The only thing I miss from version 2 and 1 is insanity points. Because psychological tests, I'm not too sure what to make of it at this minute. In this version, I did kind of like having insanities. Again, between adventures, you have these event tables, and this is where your characters do actually have some things to do, especially if you're level 3 or higher. You have to go off and do your job basically. Otherwise, you have to come down. You can earn extra money, and so on. So, what's this one? Oh yeah, you got little things that each sort of classes can do. Then you got the religious sort of bits. Again, I do like these. I've just rolled up an NPC. My characters, my characters know they're going to be meeting at some point. It's a priest of More. It's going to be interesting. So there, and also like the bit you got some bits about some of the other gods. Would have liked a bit more, if I'm being honest. Then you've also got some of the primary gods for the elves, dwarfs, and hobbits. So there. Then you've got some little bits about the chaos gods. Not a lot. I'm assuming there's going to be a book for that. Then you've got a miscast table from the gods, which I think is brilliant. You also then got a little table for, as soon as you can do blessings, your priest can do 6 blessings. And then, but it tells you which type each one has of them 6. Then you've got these sort of miracles. So, like, mana can drown someone, where More can almost like kill someone very quickly, but you have to be careful with it. Ronald. There's quite a few sort of here. Sharla, Aldrich, Sigmar, obviously. I would like to see some other gods as well. Again, we're sort of going into the magic stuff here again. Miscasting. There's minor and major miscasting. Again, you're more likely to be a witch or a haggard wizard, I think. Or even a seer, who eventually can do magic and so on. I like the idea of corrosive blood, but at the same time, it means you've got to get hit. Now, I'm going to come out of this bit for a minute very quickly. There's the GM notes. Let me make my way. Oh, in my game, I'm starting from when Cole Franz takes the throne after his father has died. So we're basically saying that Carl Franz's father died literally not long after the New Year, and these guys, for the early part of spring, are now making their way to where this place was, where they've actually visited already, so I'm not going to go too much more into all of that. So at this minute, Todd Bringer's not too happy, because I believe he's the one who just about fails to become the Emperor as well, so he's not overly happy. But as I said, you've got this nice little description with these sort of things, animals, what you can buy. The only problem I have, I would have liked some stats for maybe a mule and pony, but then saying that, I suppose there's ways you can do it by working out how to make a horse smaller. And for that, then you've got the bestiary. Now the bestiary in this is much, much better in my eyes. But there's 2 reasons why I think this is much better. Obviously you've got like a few things here, nice little sort of pigeons and so on. Then you've got some of these big creatures like the balask, the bog octopus, the demigryth, obviously dragons, which I think is a game ender really. The fen, giants, griffins, hippogriffs. Now there's a lot of things here that players can't really go up against straight away. One of my favourite from the first edition, Jabberwock. I can't pronounce it properly. Then you also got Pegasus, manticores, trolls, wyverns. Now orcs. One of the things I like about orcs, they've got something called Die Hard. Now in the preview edition, it was so they had a 20% chance of basically getting back up each time they were killed, unless basically killed in a specific way. So I thought that was kind of cool, but now it's become a lot harder, obviously, to make it a bit easier for the players and so on. Now, there's a lot more in this bestiary. I like the undead sort of bit they've got in this as well. There's a bit more there. Bit small on the beastmen and so on, but you've got a few things here which I sort of kind of like. But then you have all these creature talents you can add. You don't, you've got the options that you can follow this, but let's say you've got an orc champion and you think to yourself, right, I'm going to make him an elite, so he gets 20 plus weapon skill, 20 ballistics and 20 willpower. But at the same time you might think to yourself, well, I'm going to also make him a champion, and if he's a champion, he then can, if he wins an opposing test whilst defending, he hits the enemy. There's all these little things. You can also make him faster. He could have +1 movement and +10 agility. There's just so many different things here. There's also one for big. I think there's another one that makes him a lot stronger as well. Then you find out there's so many, and it's not just a small amount. There's a few pages here, and then you sort of get to you know, a nice little index at the back, and then a nice bit telling you about the first set of adventure books that I believe will be coming. Now, talk about the Bestiary for this one, and then we'll take a quick look at the Bestiary where I've got this. Oh, almost sneezed. I can still feel my nose tickling. Now, the only thing I will give them, to tell you the truth, like, you got all that sort of there, fair enough. I would have liked this, a basic sort of for town people. You know, like there's the beggar, stuff like that. That's not really in this. They give you 1 or 2 examples, but it's not really in there. That is a wrecker. One of my friends is one of them. But I was really bummed out by the actual proper Bestiary. It's got a little thing about how to make a brute, a sneaky, and a chief. But then you've only got like one beastman. At least that book has a beastman, an ungor, a minotaur. I would love to have centaurs as well, if I'm being honest. Then you've got demon imp, lesser demon, a really small table there for mutations, where you've got a lot more, not big about more, mutant, orc, skaven, skeleton, zombie. That's it. As I said, the only thing I feel from this Bestiary I would have really liked is the basic one for the town people. That's not hard to transfer over though, and that's kind of cool for me. Now guys, this has gone on for 30 minutes, so I'm not gonna lie, I'm very happy to have got version 4. What I've read of it, I've really enjoyed. I'm not gonna turn around and say anything bad about it yet, because I haven't had a real in-depth game at this second, and I do really need that, I think, for me to really say yeah. The other thing I feel this book is missing, which I think there's a PDF coming, but is an adventure, because in the back of version 2, let me try and find the adventure. What was it called again? I can't remember now. I've played it so many times I should remember, but I can't remember. Through the Darkwood Ward. And so you start off in a small town, if I remember rightly. Yeah, that's the town's name. And they've just been, it's after the siege, after the Storm of Chaos. This is set before Storm of Chaos. Actually, Games Workshop set the time back so they could do the End of Days in a different way. End of Time, sorry, not End of Days. I'm not a big fan of End of Times. I am a fan of what they did when I was reading it, but I'm not a fan of how it ended. I don't want to go too much into that, guys, hence why I was so happy to see someone pick this up. I love what they've done with this so far. I've only had one session though, so things could change. I could be very upset. But yes, I really like this. Now, for the rule book, I think is better than second edition. That doesn't mean I think second edition rules are weaker. I just think rule book, for what you get inside the book, is better than second editions. But second edition had a load of really good supplements come out. I got a funny feeling there's going to be a few supplements for this. I don't know how quick they're going to come out. I think we've got the starter set coming next, and then I think it will be at the back of here, Hard Nights, and even, is it Hard Nights and, oh, I don't want to break the spine, sorry, I had to grip that. Rough Nights and Hard Days, sorry. Oh, I got scared there, I thought I was about to break the spine. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the second session me and my friends are going to be doing. We can only do this once a month, you know, other commitments in life get in the way. But I did enjoy the first sort of session me and my friends had. So yeah. So again, have you guys played? What do you think? Are you someone who's interested in getting this but maybe holding back? If you are, let me know in the comments. Hopefully I've made some things a little clearer. I don't want to show too much, guys, but at the same time, I also know that I can rabbit on and hopefully, as I said, hopefully I've made some things a little bit clear. I'm very, very interested in doing some more with this. I'm hoping for some really good supplements like there was in... Actually, why am I taking that one away? Let's put that back. Supplements that they had in version 2 could come, you know, maybe come back for this. I've heard... sorry, I saw the interview with... what was his name? I wonder if it's at the front here. Oh, it's actually in the back, isn't it? Sorry, this is the guy who's doing the interview at the time is that gentleman there, Mr. Davis. I can't. He was talking about he's redoing Shadows over Boggenhofen for 4th edition. Now that really interests me. Not only that, because you get information about a town, you know, one of the sort of big towns in the Reichland, but you also get quite a few sort of bits, and it's also a really cool adventure I really enjoyed from the 1st edition. Probably didn't play it properly because I was quite young at the time, but I did enjoy it. But again, we'll see what happens. Obviously Games Workshop has to give improvement to all things that sort of come out in any form of their IP, even though they kind of almost pushed it to the side, the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Again, I'm just really looking forward to playing this, guys. I hope you've liked this video anyway. If you have, please click like. If you'd like to subscribe, please do. I plan on trying to do a video of maybe like a story form. So I've been planning my prologue at this second, because with my friends, I'm trying to make sure I do a prologue that doesn't give away too much information. Just enough so my players, what they've already learned and stuff like that. So at the same time, trying to make it so people can understand and follow. Then I want to do an adventure, do a kind of story form of the guys' sort of adventures. The first session was very role play. There wasn't really any action, but I think could be fun as a video as well. I'm just trying to work out what voices to use for different characters and stuff like that without sounding too samey. So yeah, again, it's only a brief guide. It's a quick look at. I love these. Roleplay is my favourite thing. Warhammer is my favourite roleplay as well. And so yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to where it goes. As far as I could be wrong here, guys, but as far as I know, this has outsold. Just this rulebook has done so well for them. It was like thousands more copies were sold than their best estimate. So yeah, and it just shows you that so many people wanted to go back to what it was, and version 3 kind of was a mistake. In my eyes, anyway. Anyway, guys, I hope you're all having a good day, and goodbye.